The Green Bay Packers just received some shocking news. I'm going to break that down for you guys in this video. First, I would love for you guys to leave your comments and let me know who you think the three greatest coaches in Packer history are in order. I'm going to give you mine. Number one on the list, I think goes without question. It is Vince Lombardi, number one. Number two on the list, I feel, is Mike Holmgren. Some of you may disagree with me. He was only with the Packers for 7 seasons, but 6 of those seasons he went to the playoffs, also bringing a Super Bowl to Green Bay since the Vince Lombardi days. So that earns a number 2 spot on the list for me. Number 3, in my opinion, is Curly Lambeau. He had a winning percentage of .656 in 28 seasons. That is just stupid good. And I think an honorable mention is Matt LaFleur right behind him. Yes, some of you guys might be saying, dude, this guy's only been with us since 2019. Stop jumping the gun. I get it. I understand. But this dude is super, super good. He's a great coach. Now, he has a winning percentage of .690, just ahead of Curly Lambeau. Again, he's only been with the Packers since 2019, but he is an honorable mention. He may sneak ahead of Curly Lambeau on that list, just depending on how his career ends in Green Bay. All that being said, leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts and what you put as your order. The Green Bay Packers received some shocking news, and that is on the injury front. The Green Bay Packers have signed Chris Brooks to the active roster. Why is that? Well, it says right here, the Green Bay Packers signed Chris Brooks to the active roster from the practice squad, placing running back Marshawn Lloyd on injured reserve on IR. So he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks, coming from Brian Gutekunst. Why is that? Well, he tweaked his ankle in the Indianapolis Colts game. Man, you got to feel for a guy like Marshawn Lloyd. High aspirations for this running back coming into this season with the Packers. A very crowded running back room, but a very talented running back room, as we saw last week. We got to see a little bit of Marshawn Lloyd, but Josh Jacobs is the main feature in this Green Bay Packer offense. And then you've got Emmanuel Wilson, who is just stepping in there, but you've got Marshawn Lloyd hitting the IR for the Green Bay Packers. Very disappointing news. Chris Brooks is elevated. Now he is going to be behind Emmanuel Wilson on the roster as like a third option for the Green Bay Packers. Brooks, 6'1", 219 pounds. I was pumped when they got him over from Miami. I think this is a guy that could be featured incredibly well in Matt LaFleur's offense. I expect to see some good stuff out of Chris Brooks. I'm excited about it. Personally, I think he's going to flourish under Matt LaFleur. Again, second year out of BYU, joined the Packers practice squad September 3rd. Originally was with the Miami Dolphins as an undrafted free agent May 2023. Brooks played in 9 games with the Dolphins as a rookie season, recording 19 carries, 106 yards, 5.6 average. Again, this is a dude that can get a lot of yards in bunches, and that's what we saw out of Josh Jacobs. We saw what he's able to do. He gets yards in bunches, but he just wears down a defense. That's what I absolutely love about Josh Jacobs. It's only going to get more exciting as the season goes on. If he stays healthy, this is going to be a massive year for Josh Jacobs. Contrary to what people were saying heading into this year, they were like, man, Josh Jacobs, he's going to be a below 1,000 yards. Yeah, well, that's not going to be the case. The Packers are already ranked number 1 in takeaways. So kudos to Jeff Hafley and his defense. That's the number one thing he said coming into Green Bay is like, listen, we're going to get turnovers. And that's exactly what you're seeing out of him and his defense and his defensive schemes. I know it's only 2 weeks in, but that is super encouraging news, man. The Packers got the number 1 rated defense in takeaways. And then you've got Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers running room leading the league in rushing yards. It's only through 2 weeks, but the Packers get great news with that. Again, you got Emmanuel Wilson, a guy that is stepped up in a big way for this Packer squad. He showed it in preseason, and then he showed it week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. He kind of fell flat a bit during the Indianapolis Colts game. Marshawn Lloyd, of course, we got to see a little bit out of him before he's now out for another 4 weeks. Again, tough news for the Packers losing Marshawn Lloyd, especially when you start talking about Jordan Love being gone probably this week yet again, which is fine. I think what better game to do that than against the Tennessee Titans? Get him rested, get him back fully healthy, and now you've got Chris Brooks. Is that kind of that 1-2 punch? I think it's going to be great against Tennessee because Josh Jacobs is just going to bruise you. And then Emmanuel Willis is going to be a little bit of a change of pace. And then you've got Chris Brooks, which is he's got great hands out of the backfield. I'm excited for that. But if you're going to give a defensive ball, in my opinion, to anybody from this past week's game, you're giving it to Devontae Wyatt. I am super excited. Talking about Jeff Hafley's defense, I love this dude in Jeff Hafley's defense. He's just going to be running wild. He had a tackle for loss, and that was a good Jonathan Taylor, who is kind of running all over the Packers at times. He had a tackle for a loss, a sack, and he led the Packers defense with 4 pressures. I love this dude, and I think he's only going to get better as the season goes on. Anyways, leave your comments. Let me know what you think is the Packers greatest coaches in history, your top 3. And as always, go Pack.